All you need is love. Wah, 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 wah. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. You know, life is beautiful, life is precious, life is a gift. And, you know, life can be short, even if you live 100 years. You know, the grand scheme of eternity on that scale of life, you know, 100 years is just a blip. You know, and that's why I'm creating this channel, is just to help people about the business of living. You know, because sadly there's just so many things in life things that we approach, things that we allow, things that happen to us, that can stifle us, that can poison us and stop us from, you know, living our true potential. And that's really what I want these episodes to be about, is about, you know, yeah, recognize the poisons in life and the things that stifle us. But you know, with every poison, I don't know for sure, but I think every poison, or most poisons, have like an antidote. You know, so whether we're talking about the poison of apathy, the poison of indifference, the poison of sin, the poison of lack of forgiveness, the poison of a joyless spirit, the you know, lingering resentment, loss, personal failure, addictions, whatever it might be, these things poison our lives and they just suck the life blood out of us. But the good news is that there are antidotes. There are antidotes to these poisons that stifle us. You know, an antidote is something that revives, it restores, it counteracts. And that's what I want to share with you, or week to week to week. I want to share with you these antidotes that can counteract the violence that's perpetrated on us through the poisons of life, and so that we can really live our full potential and really get busy with the business of living. All you need is love. Wah, 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 wah. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. So, as the kids would say, who would have thunk it that the Beatles would come up with the greatest and the best antidote to indifference and apathy, depression, despair? It's love. And ultimately, that's why I wanted to start with this one, the first and primordial antidote. It's love. Love absolutely changes everything. And so I was recollecting that song, and it's I'm not a huge Beatles fan, but I respect them, and boy, that's a good song, and that's a good message. All we need is love. And love, when we truly understand it, that it's more than an emotion, it's more than just a feeling, when we truly understand it and engage in what it means to love, it's a game changer. It changes everything. And I want to begin by a quote from Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen. He was an archbishop in the Archdiocese of New York years ago. Actually, he was one of the very first, he was the first what we call televangelists. He was the first minister, priest, and among all ministers, to be on TV. And boy, in the 50s, the 60s, it was prime time. Everybody, whether you were Protestant or Catholic or Jewish, it doesn't matter what you were, everybody was tuning in. It was prime time to listen to Fulton Sheen, Archbishop Fulton Sheen. So I just encourage you, check him out. There's all sorts of videos on YouTube, so check them out. Pray to Archbishop Fulton Sheen for help in your lives to really live more fully, more completely. I'd like to share a quote from his. I found this on YouTube, and it was a homily he was giving. And I'm going to cheat and look at my note cards. I'm 60 years old. I don't remember everything the way I should. I can't memorize the way I used to. So please excuse me checking my notes once in a while. But Fulton Sheen, he said this once: energy is renewed when we love. The reason, he says this, the reason we get bored and become apathetic is because we don't love as we should. So I think this is our challenge, to learn how to love as we should. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of love and how we can maybe love in a more profound way. And then he goes on to say, he says, our world is really suffering from indifference and apathy. It's suffering from people not living to their full potential. And I think that's one of the greatest challenges that we have. And that's really at the heart of these vlogs that I've just now started, is to help me, because as I help you, I'm helping me. When a priest preaches, he's preaching first to himself. So everything I say to you, it doesn't mean that I've got it all figured out perfectly. No. It's a reminder to me, first and foremost, and hopefully it's a help to you. And then he goes on to say something I think very profound. He says, I think the Lord Jesus Christ suffers more from our indifference and our apathy than from his crucifixion, than from his time on the cross on Golgotha. Wow, that's a powerful statement. And I think, theologically, what he's getting at is this. Jesus died on the cross, certainly to redeem us, to reconcile us with God our Father, to pay the price for sin. But he also came, as he tells us, that we might have life in abundance, fullness of life. And what a shame when we're not living to our full potential, when we get caught up in the poison of apathy and indifference and depression and despair. We're not living as we should in those moments. So, keeping that in mind, I'm reminded of this idea of energy. It grows. How did he say? He says energy is renewed when we love. When I was a kid, again, I'm dating myself. When I was a kid, on my little bicycle, I had what they call like a generator light. They didn't have batteries. No, there was none of that fancy stuff that we have today. What we had was a generator light, and it was connected to the pedals. And so the more I pedaled, the brighter the light was. And of course, the less I pedaled, the light would dim. And I think this is a beautiful image of what it is for us, that when we are loving, when we're pedaling, when we are loving, and even loving where there is no love, putting love where there is no love, loving our enemies, loving those who have hurt us, when we are loving as we should, as we're called to, as we're commanded to, there's a bee, bang, watch out bee, get away. When we're loving like this, we are producing, just like in that light, when I'm pedaling my heart out, that light's nice and bright, shining bright. And that's the same. When I'm loving, I am producing love, and I am producing energy. I am overcoming apathy and indifference and any other poison that might be ailing me, because I'm loving. Because I'm loving as I should. And that's a challenge for me and for you and for all of us. The word love, in English, we have one verb for love, and it's love, to love. And the thing is this, a person, I can't remember her name, but a person once said that love is a worn out word. And I think what she meant by that, this was an actress, what she meant by that, I believe, was that, you know, we use that word love for everything. You know, I love ice cream. I love sweets. I really like sweets. I inherited that from my father. He loves sweets. He's still with me, almost 94 years old. I love sweets. Maybe that's a secret to old age, is sweets. Anyway, I digress. I love my dog, who's over there. I love God. I love my neighbor. I love my sisters. I love my nieces and nephews and my brother-in-laws. I love my friends. But we only have one word, one verb to describe all those different kinds of love. And it doesn't mean that it stifles us from truly loving our friends and loving God. But, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say that it cheapens the word love, to love. But, you know, as she said, love is a worn out word. You know, sometimes we just use it and maybe don't even fully understand what we're saying. There are different types of love. In the Greek language, we find, gosh, I don't know, like 7 different types of love, different verbs for love. I just want to focus on 4 of them today. And in future vlogs, I want to kind of expound on each of these so that we can truly have a better understanding of these types of love, 3 of which, 3, not 4, 3 of which are found in the New Testament. Because knowing these different types of love, you know, we don't have to speak Greek or write Greek to be able to express ourselves, to love like the Greeks do. But knowing these differences, these nuances of how to love, I think will increase our capacity to love in these various ways, express ourselves in these various ways. So the first one is eros. Eros, which it designates the sphere of sexual attraction. It designates the idea of this kind of carnal desire that we have as human beings. The second one is storgos, storgos. And this denotes a type of love that we have, a long-lasting love, like a love for parents, a love for maybe my culture. You know, I'm Irish American. I love all things Irish. So that would be a storgos type of love, a love for my culture, my Irish roots. And among other things, it denotes a love for one's country. And so that's storgos love. And then the next one we might be a little bit more familiar with is philia. Philia. You know, this is a love that we have for our friends, our best friends, the people we spend time with and like to hang around with. You know, we know it's a brotherly kind of love, a brotherly kind of love. And, you know, the word Philadelphia, it means the city of brotherly love. And so philia is a beautiful word, a beautiful verb in Greek for expressing the love that we have for our friends and those very, very close to us. And then the final word, verb I want to share with you, which I'm sure many of you might be aware of, is the verb in Greek agape. Agape. You know, agape love is the kind of love that God has for us. It's the love that Jesus has for us. It's a sacrificial love. It's a love that seeks the good of the other. It's a love that has no boundaries. It has no beginning or end. It's the supreme form of love. The supreme form of love. You know, it's the love in which we love God. We're called to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, body, strength. And the second of the two great commandments is love our neighbor as ourselves. And the love that we have for God, an agape love, is the same kind of love we're to have for our neighbor. Our neighbor. This is the kind of love that you have for your children, those of you who have children. It's an agape kind of love. And it's a love, as I said, for our neighbor, especially our neighbor that is in need. A neighbor who is homeless, a neighbor who is sick, a neighbor who is lonely, whatever the circumstances. The love that we are called to share with them is an agape kind of love. You know, I think the whole idea of this first kind of antidote for apathy and indifference and any other poison that stifles us from the business of living, it's love. But we need to love with a greater fervor, We need to love with passion. We need to love with intentionality. The intentionality is key. You know, we're called to love God, love our neighbor, love our family, love our friends, love creation, love exploring, love traveling. You know, all of these loves. We need to love. We need to love art. We need to love culture. We need to love all of these things. Because when we love and express our love appropriately, it helps us grow. It renews that energy, as Fulton Sheen says. It renews that energy in us. It enlivens us. And helps us to become the people that we're really called to be. There's another, speaking of bee, there's another little bee. That looks like a wasp. That's a whole different story. You know, to love hobbies, to love exercise, to love walking, to love your dog, to love projects. You know, all of these are important loves of our life. And when we love these things properly, in the right priority, we are living. We are renewed. Our energy is renewed. Ultimately, love is more than just an emotion. You know, we see these, you know, especially around St. Valentine's Day, you know, Cupid with this little bow and arrow, and we get caught up in this idea that love is it's just purely an emotion. It's just purely a way of, it's more than just an emotion. It's more than just a feeling. Love is so much more than that. Ultimately, love is a decision. You know, every single day, and I hope what I'm saying to you will help, every single day, 20 times a day, 100 times a day, we have to decide to love. It's so much more than an emotion, it's more than a feeling. We have to decide, we have to choose with that intentionality to love. And I hope that's what you will do. And I hope I will continue to be mindful of that kind of love. And finally, you know, when we love like this, with that kind of intentionality, with that kind of understanding of the different types of love, it's then and only then that we are truly living, that we are truly engaged in the business of living. If you like what you have heard and see on this first vlog of mine, I invite you to subscribe and to ring that little bell for notifications. And I thank you for taking the time to look at this video. And I'll close by serenading you with this beautiful song. All you need is love. Womp, 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 womp. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love y'all.